podcasts on unctv.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNCTV.
"20 years ago, you probably wouldn't have found people with HIV in a place like this. In the early days, it was a big city problem. But today, in the new age of HIV/AIDS, specialists say the virus has invaded small towns and quiet countrysides all across North Carolina. Statistics show about 25% of the state's HIV and AIDS cases are in rural areas, and researchers say people there face a special set of challenges, the biggest being stigma and discrimination.
The town's beautiful. It's a beautiful town. Of course, it's like any other southern town. It's driven by religion and politics.
This man, whom we'll call Jason, says he wants to stay anonymous because he fears repercussions to his family in the small town where they live.
Oh, I think probably good old boys would drive by and yell a few words, and children would probably hear quite a bit at school.
Plus, he says there's little assistance or medical care for him or for the other HIV-positive men and women all across rural North Carolina.
Options are at a minimal. You have one doctor or one group of doctors. That's it. In the larger cities, I would have a choice of 15, 20, and would not have to commute as far.
Jason's case manager, Ramia Gleason, is based almost an hour away in Asheville, which is also where the doctors are. She says transportation to and from the city is just part of the battle.
You're not just addressing the HIV, you're trying to reduce stress factors in a person's life. And that can involve looking at food, housing, utilities, transportation, medical care.
The men and the women who we talked to were thinking about how to get food on the table, how to get electricity, basic living needs. And so it started to make sense why HIV was perhaps not the most important thing in their lives. As one person said, it was the icing on the cake of a bad life.
Dr. Kate Wetton runs the Health Inequalities program at Duke University and wrote the book You're the First One I've Told, about people living with HIV and AIDS in rural North Carolina. She says the single largest barrier facing people with HIV in rural North Carolina is the stigma that still surrounds the disease.
You can give them brochures and things about HIV and their medications in the clinics, but when they get back to their town, they need to throw those away. So stigma is an incredible barrier.
Jason doesn't even go to the clinic in his town because he's afraid someone will find out.
Pretty much the backlash of all my children. I'm more afraid of them being discriminated against or teased or whatever for something that I've did prior to them.
We had a woman who can't sit on her porch anymore because people drive by and throw cans at her and call her the AIDS lady. For rural areas, until we can attack the stigma about this disease, it's going to be very hard to keep people on their medications, to get care, and to prevent the spread of the disease because people don't know that their neighbors are positive.
I think education needs to happen in the rural communities. It's been a very difficult area to create awareness in on all levels, from the medical providers to the church groups to the neighborhoods and to the schools.
Jason says a new group in his town has started HIV and AIDS education in the community. He says it's a beginning, and he says until the stigma is gone, he wants other HIV-positive people to know one thing.
You're not alone.